Good morning. This is Miss Deanne out here at the Early Learning Center this morning, coming to you. I know I've had a couple of weeks off, and I'm sorry that I haven't been there for the last couple of weeks, but I'm hoping to get back on track now with our Mindfulness Tuesdays. Wanting to talk to you about whining, crying, and screaming, and even maybe complaining that happens with our children and what we can do about it. I was really struck by this when I saw a post on Facebook about how children, typically when babies communicate, they cry. When toddlers communicate, the 2-year-olds, and we talk about the terrible twos, they scream. When our children get a little older, they go into kind of a whining phase. They start to whine. And then now the phase that I'm entering, the teenage years, I hear a lot of complaining. So what do all these things have in common with our children? Are our children just what some people would call brats? Are they selfish? What is the root cause of whining, crying, complaining, and screaming? What I want to talk to you today about is taking a mindful approach to looking at what is happening with our children. So it is common for children, and you may even have in your own home have some kids who whine more or complain more than the other one does, and so you think, okay, there's just something wrong with this particular child, or this child is just, out of sorts. Obviously, our children, first of all, when we see this kind of behavior, we need to take a step back and say, what is this behavior communicating to us? Recently, we've been having Dr. Lori from Butler University in Indianapolis talking with us, and the one thing that really sticks out to me is that all behavior should be seen as communication. So our children are communicating something to us with their behavior. And our question is, what are they communicating? So I know this weekend with my son, he was having a really difficult day. And it was really starting to be very trying for all of us in the family. And I needed to step back and say, what is going on? Well, the truth is that we had a really busy week and busy weekend. And he was very tired. He woke up early and he didn't get enough sleep. And so the first thing that I needed to realize was that through his complaining and whining, he was communicating how tired he was. So our children often, through those kinds of communication tools, are trying to communicate what they need from us. So what my son needed from me was in help trying to figure out how to get him some more rest. So I was able to help him do that. I was able to help him calm him down and talk to him about it. And then also to plan the rest of our day accordingly. To not put huge expectations on him or on myself. So sometimes our children are doing this because they're tired, hungry, or they don't like the weather, or they're feeling overwhelmed by the amount of people around them at a store, or the amount of busyness, or the fact that we're busy and having difficulty in connecting with them. Sometimes our children are just finding, that they need connection. One of the things that my husband did to help our son was he found a way to use humor. And pretty soon they were wrestling on the ground and laughing and joking around, and it totally turned around how our son was able to regulate. So rather than looking at that behavior as something really negative, we can look at it as communication. And when we see it as communication and we can try to figure out what the need is, then as a parent, we can try to help meet that need. Then after this is over and everybody is back regulated and feeling good and connected, that's a good time to talk about what they were feeling, what they were experiencing, and how might be a different way of communicating that in the first place. That's really the time. So punishing, getting frustrated, yelling about the behavior probably isn't going to result in anything better or different. But if we can figure out how to meet the need in the moment, help our child get regulated and ourselves get regulated, then we can go about helping them be proactive for the next time. And remember that this is a long period and process. Even as adults, we still complain. We'll still whine perhaps at times, even if it's not in the same tone of voice. Or we may even scream or yell. We all, as human beings, sometimes express needs that we have or feelings that we have in inappropriate or unhealthy ways. And so our children even more so. And so it takes a long time to learn that. So this is going to be a process. So of course, your children are going to whine, cry, scream, complain, because that is how we as human beings sometimes communicate with one another. So our job, help them regulate, stay regulated ourselves when we're really frustrated, and so we can model how we can ask for what we need in a more appropriate ways, and then teach them to ask for what they need in more appropriate ways. So I hope you guys are having a great day. If you are whining, crying, complaining today, that you are able to find someone who will support you, and that you can maybe even sit down and figure out how to ask for what you need in an appropriate way, so that you don't have to whine, cry, and complain yourselves. All right, guys, thanks so much. I hope that this Mindfulness Tuesday video will help you and your family to connect and to find ways to be able to express in a more positive, healthy way. Have a good one.